against Miami, the U, with yet another disappointing season after a lot of anticipation of the offseason. They're currently sitting at 6-3, 2-3 in the conference. Not ideal, but you do have a big chance here to play spoiler in the ACC. And of all the conferences, I think the ACC has more spoils and upsets when it comes to later in the year than any other conference. So this game's very intriguing to me because I personally feel like it might be a trap game for Florida State. In-state rival, right, in Miami. And it's a team that, because they're not ranked, they're 2-3 in the conference, 6-3 overall, you may overlook. May not think much of them. But I think that Miami may actually come in and play this game tight. Vegas does not agree with me on that, however. Florida State's a 14.5-point favorite at home. The over-under is 50.5. Chase, let's go to you first on this game.
Well, guys, I got to tell you a story real quick. There was one night I was in an alley late at night, probably a Friday, something like that. It was real dark, midnight, and I was trying to corral this alley cat for whatever reason. Now, this alley cat up against the wall, acting very feral, foaming at the mouth, ready to just get me, right? And I tell you this story because this is exactly how Florida State and Miami is about to go. Florida State's trying to catch that alley cat, and Miami's just sitting there foaming at the mouth, ready to go. And that's something you don't want to mess with. You don't want to try to corral an alley cat, right? Miami's going to play scared. They're going to play fierce. They're going to play really, really strong in this game. 14.5, you got to throw that out of the window. I think this is going to be a 7 points or less game. I am taking Florida State. I think this is a trap game, but look at the rest of their schedule. They play Miami at home. They play some team named North Alabama. Then they go to Florida at the Swamp, right? You beat Miami here, and definitely how Quinn's been talking about Florida, you should be home free. You should be going to the ACC Championship without a lick on you, okay? So you got to show up and play. And I think they're going to show up and play. I think they really are. I think they're going to play well. Keon Coleman didn't play last week. I think there was an injury to him. Hopefully he's back this week. But you're trying to corral an alley cat. Their back's up against the wall. Miami's going to play really, really tough. I'm going to take Florida State, but 7 or less for me. I'm not taking that 14.5. I think that's crazy. Quinn?
First, I want to address, as far as Miami, I feel like reasonable expectations for them coming into this year with 7 to 9 wins. That's still very in front of them. And I would say they've shown improvement from year 1 to year 2. So I'm not off the Mario Cristobal train. I think he is growing at Miami. Now, will he ever get them like over the hump? That's a different debate. But in terms of like getting them to being a legitimate force, that's going to be coming. But I don't think they're completely there this year, as evident by the like complete goose egg they laid when they went and played North Carolina, the blown game to Georgia Tech. But we've also seen them get up and play some good competition and get some good wins, like the Texas A&M game, like the Clemson game. For this one, I would be very tempted to look at Miami and say, oh, this is Florida State's trap game. They're going to blow it. Miami could get them. And I'm 100% confident that Miami is going to cover the spread. But that's because this is a rivalry game. But because of that, I'm also confident that Florida State's not going to be overlooking them. I just think Miami is talented enough and will want the game hard enough to hang around with Florida State. But I do take Florida State to win going away. I got them by 10.
Yeah. Bless you, Chase. Bless you, Chase.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Sorry about that. Had to take a brief intermission there. But Florida State, to me, they haven't really played that great in a long time. Now, I know that they're beating teams by 18 points, by 20-something points. But when you look at, especially the first half of games, they start really slow. I mean, especially like the Boston College game, even Pitt last week, terrible Pitt team. You win 24-7. Granted, it was on the road, but they struggled for a large majority of that game. And I'm afraid that if they go out and struggle against Miami early, like they have against some of these other teams, they could find themselves losing at halftime very easily. At which point that bet of 14.5 is looking very enticing. So I would have to agree with both of you guys. If I was a betting man, I would take Miami and the 14.5. But I do think Florida State will pull this game out. And spoiler alert, will make it to the ACC Championship game undefeated to play Louisville.